back. What's up, everybody? Benja Welldone coming at you live on this beautiful Saturday, May the 20th at 12:14 p.m. How are you doing? So, money, the currency of time. What does that mean? Well, let's get into it. You see, I had a interesting conversation with somebody recently, and they said they didn't want a lot of money, okay, because they didn't want to be greedy. Well, in that logic, that's kind of like saying that you don't want to have a full refrigerator because you don't want to be fat. You know what I mean? You'd rather just go to the grocery store once every couple days to buy whatever you can get through, But anyway, the thing is that money really is the currency of time, because if you have more money, you have more time to live, plain and simple. If you have $10 million, you have more time to be a better husband, a better loved one, a better friend, a better everything. So as long as, because math is life, math is everything, you add together enough money and enough good decisions together, you can actually retire. The best way to have freedom is to start out by having financial freedom, because otherwise you're going to be a prisoner to a slave job that you don't want to have, and you're going to be stuck there forever. Getting motivated on this one. Money is such an interesting thing because in a lot of ways it's just like plants. If you plant a seed, it'll grow. One of the greatest minds, whether you like his personality or not, is this guy Grant Cardone, or Cardone, however you pronounce his last name, doesn't matter, whatever, don't care. And the emphasis of his business model is to always, essentially, all the money that you receive, to put it into other things that will make you money, right? So the point is that if you have a day job, the money that you receive, instead of spending it on random things that will depreciate, right? Own as little as you can, okay? As far as like cool stuff goes. You can do that later, but your first goal financially should always be to have as many multiple streams of income as possible. Or at least more than enough so that you can live off of that prison job that you had at Target that you don't want to be a part of anymore. There's two kinds of people in this world. And I'm sure you could say there's more than that, but in this example, there's only two, okay? There's people that live to work and people that work to live. What's the difference? Well, here it is. There's people who live to work and people who work to live, all right? And here's the difference between the two. A person who lives to work, it's what their passion is. It's who they are as a person, okay? They are a doctor who've always wanted to be a doctor, okay? It is a jiu-jitsu guy who's always wanted to be a jiu-jitsu guy. It's a teacher who's always wanted to be a teacher. It's someone who lives their dream. They live for their job. They love it. That's who they are. There's also people that work to live. They don't like their job. They have a work ethic. They can be the world's best at something, but they're not passionate about it. Now, of course, it could be maybe a combination of both, or a little this, little that. But in general, there's only really two kinds of people in the world. And now you could say, oh, I'm sure there's different kinds. Yeah, okay, you can say that. But in this example, there's only two. You're either passionate about your job or you're working just to pay for things, okay? And when it comes to like financial freedom and just freedom in general, for you to be able to really live your life, okay? If you're not living the life that you want to live through the job that you've always wanted to do, that means you're just working to live, working to get by. So if that is you, if you don't have a higher goal, if you're not grinding on your day job to be this person that you want to live to be in the future, okay? If you just want to hang around and look at your phone all day, and there's nothing wrong with that, okay? There may be tons wrong with that. But my point is that if you're working just to get by, at least work, okay, and get by, and that money that you receive, put it in something that's going to pay you back. Now, even if it's only a little amount, if you just repeat that formula enough times, you might have 20 streams of income and each one makes a small amount. But when you add them all together, those small little eggs equal into a big omelet. You like that? No, I'm just messing. But seriously, and I'm really passionate about what I'm saying. You can really hear this in my voice. And the reason why is because, again, math is life. You add up enough things and it will add to something else. You take away things and it'll subtract it, right? Enough good decisions in one direction. You continue to treat your body in a great way. You physically exercise. End result, you're going to be a stud. or a great looking girl, whatever, right? You study hard, you'll get smarter. And with money, if you save it and do nothing with it, you're just accruing it for it to eventually spend it, and then it's less and you have nothing. That's all savings is. Savings is essentially a big amount of money that's going to go down that you expect to live off of. Okay? What would be more convincing? All right? If I gave you a certain amount of money one time, okay? Or if I gave you a formula on how to make money, which I'm not going to do, just principle purposes, right? And it's like a stream of water that will never run out. Would you rather pitch a tent and have your camp nearby a pond, or would you rather have it by a stream where you always have running water? You know what I mean? That's why it's actually called like a stream of income, because it's continuous, and a savings account just sits there. I don't claim to be a financial guru by any means, but I am doing all these positive things that I'm talking about. I want freedom, but the only way you can have freedom is to have financial freedom first. So, with that being mentioned, I think I made my point, and if something that I said benefits you, that's great. You know, I'm always down to helping out other people, but just like I say for other things, anytime I say something out loud, if anything, it reinforces the way that I live, and it's a reminder to myself. You know what I mean? But yeah, if you got a job and you love that job and that's who you're already there, man. You got the golden ticket. You won. You essentially won at life. You're living your dream, right? And that doesn't mean you're not working hard. That doesn't mean you're not doing any of these things, okay? But you can work hard for something you're passionate about. But that's when you work overtime, and it's not really overtime because you're having fun, you're enjoying, you're living your life, you're loving it. You know what I mean? So, but yeah, if you're door number two, that just means you're living to get by. And if you're not working to get to door number one, to work into a job that truly expresses who you truly are, your core and who you are, and if you're not interested in doing that, but you do want to be free from your job at Target or fill in the blank wherever it is, okay? Then you need financial freedom for you to have actual freedom. I mean, imagine how much differently you're going to start to think if you didn't ever have to go to work again. That doesn't mean contribute. That means imagine contributing more to yourself and less to somebody else for their goal, for a job or a mission or a company that you don't want to support for the next 50 years. Because that's the choice that you choose. If you don't put money away and take that money and instead of just letting it sit, plant it just like a farmer into other things to pay you continuously, you're going to have that life. And I don't want that for you, and I don't want that for myself. I don't want that for anybody. I think the world would be a lot better place if people learned about financial freedom, starting with additional streams of income. You know what I mean? So anyway, I talked a lot about the exact thing. I've given different examples, and I think that's the best way to kind of hear something is from different angles, you know? So anyway, with that being mentioned again and again, thank you for your time. I appreciate you listening and letting me express myself in this audio, if it's a podcast version, if you're listening to it through there, or a video if you're listening through YouTube or Facebook or streaming or anything like that. So with that being mentioned, I got a lot of big things cooking. I'm excited to tell them all, you know, and it's going to be another stream of income, but it's also expressive. So I'm always working towards that door number one. You know, I love comedy, I love jiu-jitsu, and I'm working to make that my life. But I also have to have enough streams of income to where, and stuff that I believe in that are going to pay me. You know what I mean? So, yeah, man, I'm excited. So, yeah, you guys had the best day. I'm Benja Welldone. Thank you so much again for your time. Again and again, I'm out. Peace.